Hello, my name is Flor Mercado. I will be presenting a policy proposal over installing more streetlights in dark areas around the El Paso County and Socorro areas. Every year during the holidays, El Paso San Jacinto Plaza installs Christmas lights and Winterfest becomes a month-and-a-half event. This year, Camp Cohen also installed Christmas lights, and Ascarate Park renovated their Christmas light event, and they were able to open it up to the public. Since El Paso Electric allows these three main places to install Christmas lights, it is only fair for them to install street lights in dark residential and Main Street areas. Residential and Main Street areas not having enough street lights installed is a big danger that drivers and pedestrians must face on a daily basis, especially traveling through these I would like for you to keep in mind the 8 questions I propose. These questions are: which El Paso and Socorro areas have been reported that contain not enough streetlights? Which El Paso and Socorro areas have been reported to be the darkest? What is the amount of light posts a neighborhood, residential, and Main Street area can contain? Has there been El Paso and Socorro residents who have reported that a specific area of travel is too dark? What is the purpose that streetlights are dim and hardly give off any luminosity to see the street and/or pedestrians? Why are there streetlights that are installed but not always turned on? Are you aware that streetlights don't turn on at night when they were working perfectly fine the day before? Does the electric company turn off streetlights to save electricity? How does this affect the Ascarete Park, Camp Cohen, and San Jacinto Plaza lights during the holidays? Moving on to the Socorro area, we have Nuevo Hueco Tanks Road in broad daylight. You see here there are 3 light posts that are installed more than 600 feet away from each other. But as you move farther away, there is no more street lights, and there is an elementary school that has a crosswalk. The only light for it is in the corner light from Chris Forbes. Next, on Chris Forbes, during the day, we see that this residential street has only a corner street light, and getting closer to the houses, there's only one other street light that is installed just more than 600 feet away from the end of the street to circle around more houses deeper into the neighborhood. When it comes to nighttime, it gets very, very dark. Sure, the 3 streetlights on Nuevo Hueco tanks illuminate the area, but only a part of it. Here I am showing you how dark the street is and how bright the driver's car's headlights must be to see what is in front of them. I also include how dark the area can be without headlights and without turning on your high beams. Like how I mentioned before, Chris Forbes is a residential area that contains only 2 street lights, one at the corner of the neighborhood entrance and the other towards the end of the street before circling around. Now here we see that it is very, very dark, and without any kind of light it gets darker. With a car passing and having its headlights on, we see that they can see what is in front of them. Given a situation, the driver can see what is in front of them, but it can be too late to see a pedestrian crossing due to the lack of lighting. Moving on to Rio Vista, another Socorro area where it is very dark. Here there is a middle school with a crosswalk and there is no light at all. Without any headlights, we can see that we are not able to see if there is any pedestrians who want to cross the street. With headlights and high beams, given the situation again, the driver can see what is in front of them, but it can be too late seeing a pedestrian or falling into the canal that surrounds the street. And this is because there is no street lights at all that illuminate the street and could cause any type of accident, either vehicle, run over a pedestrian, or fall into the canal. Going into the El Paso County area, here we see Donovan Drive in broad daylight, without the trouble of traveling and still being aware of pedestrians. Given the situation, we can see clearer with the light of day, but I think we all have noticed that traveling through this street, there is not a single street light until we get closer and see that there are street lights installed after passing Salem Park Drive. Donovan Drive at night is very dark. Like how I mentioned before, we don't see a single streetlight until after Sutherland Park Drive. Sure, there are stoplights and businesses that have lights that lighten the street, but we see here that their light gives little to no light to brighten the street. So drivers depend on their high beams to light up what is in front of them. Now, drivers and pedestrians must travel with much more caution. I understand that when there is a plan of construction, streetlights tend to be removed until the construction is completed. I also understand that there can be no plan or budget to reinstall streetlights. And now we are aware that Main Street areas like Donovan are very dark to travel through after construction. There are also two main residential areas that have gone through no recent construction in which there is a high flow of traffic that travels through day and night and gets very dark, especially now that the sun sets earlier. I want to install more streetlights to ensure the safety of drivers and pedestrians around the El Paso County and Socorro area. Once this policy is approved, then we can negotiate pricing and budgeting to begin installing streetlights in these dark areas. I want to thank you for your time listening to my presentation.